Well, believe it or not, it's a little chilly down here. So that noise you hear is my little foot heater's on. And so that's the way that goes. So if anybody's sitting on the fence about the Supreme Court, I certainly hope you fell off. It's pretty obvious that they're a very partisan court. Of course, not all the members of the court, but the majority of the court. They're there illegally, thanks to Mitch McConnell, Moscow Mitch. Well, the whole Republican Party is now beholden to Moscow. They're just part of Putin's mob, you know. This what they've done, the situation they've created, and this isn't just this is a big one, but they've been doing this ever since they've had the majority, conservative majority. They've just been slashing our rights, dismantling affirmative action and all that kind of stuff. It's really pretty horrible and pathetic. It's just funny that it's a white racist kind of movement, and the guy that's doing the charge is a black dude. But then I've seen a lot of very conservative black people here lately. Um, the last generation, there weren't too many. This time around, there seems to be a lot more. Not bright people, just people swayed by these really nonsensical arguments. We're being invaded. That's just hilarious. Yeah, we're being invaded, all right, by a bunch of morons. I'll tell you the one thing that disturbs me more than anything else, and that's just the ignorance of the American people. Really? I would say that, the percentages are not great. When you have 35% of the population of a country that thinks that this fascist dude who poops his pants and lies constantly and is a drug addict and is a pedophile and is a rapist and has already been convicted of crimes. But oh yeah, but let's charge ahead. Yay, him. You guys don't have anybody else in the whole Republican Party that's worthy of. Well, actually, you don't. And there's not any civil, Mitt Romney's, I guess, civil. His views are horrible. He wears bizarre religious underwear. He follows the teachings of a 14-year-old who was killed for being such a nitwit. Well, on a lighter note, Nova Nordisk decided they were going to shut down the long-lasting Humulin or Levemir factory that makes long-acting insulin. But they're coming up with a new product. Gee, is this new product going to fall under the auspices of the $35 per dose? I don't think so. I know it's just a ploy. So this is all just, when is everybody going to understand? This is just the wealthy in charge. The wealthy bought the Supreme Court. The wealthy have bought most of our government. The wealthy are the drug manufacturers, are these huge corporations that manage our health care now. There are no public health care facilities anymore. There's no publicly funded rural hospitals. This is just to me, these are the real disasters that are happening. Not a bunch of fake people coming across the border paid for by the Republicans to put on a show, actors more or less. The Russian actors, those were great. They hired some Russian actors to play invaders. Now I don't know why half the Republican Party loves the Russians. There's TikTokers and people all over the internet that are claiming to be living in Russia, and they're going, see, look how nice this mall is, or look how wonderful this is. It's an apartment building that looks like a damn prison. Look how wonderful and nice the architecture, and they're building a new sidewalk. It's just the whole big show and the whole big sham. And more of the people of the world, not just the United States, start really waking up to what's going on, the more intense these people are going to get. I don't condone it. I think that there's going to be some form of violence, possible bloodshed when they don't get their way, and they're not gonna get their way, like all the things that have happened just in the last week. The cat in opposition to Putin dying in prison. He got thrown in prison for nothing, for saying things that Putin didn't like. That's it. There is no free speech in Russia. Zero. None. Unless you're saying wonderful, nice things about Russia like they do on the TikTok shows. Oh, it's just so beautiful here. Look, even the dogs are friendly. What? Well, in the dog world, there's friendly ones and there's non-friendly ones. In the human world, the same thing applies. And you're going to tell me that everybody in Russia is blowing rainbows out of their ass every time they fart? Now, I know in my heart of hearts that there are good people in Russia, but they don't necessarily care about Putin or like him even. In Russia, I've heard dummies on there talking about, whoa, Russia's, you know. But the really disturbing thing to me is what people say about what these Republicans are now starting to say about Democrats. Okay, go ahead, keep pushing, keep doing that, like that. Sooner or later, a Democrat's going to grab that finger and break it. That's what's going to happen. And for all you guys' bravado and toughness, no. There's a whole lot of us Democrats that we're kind of done with the kindness stuff. Well, me personally, I've been done with it for a long, long time. You know, I don't really particularly care about anyone or like anyone that much. You know, I love some of my loved ones, but humans in general, mm, there's a percentage of people that are good people. I know that. I mean, that's another thing people do is they pick one incident or one person or one situation, and then they purport that that's everyone. That's everyone in that particular group is doing that. No, they're not. Everyone's different. You couldn't get 10 Republicans in the same room to agree on anything. You couldn't get 10 Democrats in the same room to agree on anything. Or anybody. Well, anyway, I just get really tired of listening to all the nonsense, and it's so much of it is just nonsense. Nobody's thinking with their brain. Nobody's thinking, I don't think. So, and again, I apologize for doing a complaint video because that's what this is. Just another Democrat complaining about the fascist right wing of this country and what they're doing. But they're trying to do it all over the world. The wealthy. And you know, it's to call people names, to put a label on anything really. Fascism, communism, capitalism, socialism, you know. It's all silly. Your government is only the people that are running it and whatever they do. And most of them are just greedy friggin' politicians, no matter what ism there is behind it. Again, the wealthy in this country don't give a crap about us, we the people. They bought the courts and they bought the government. Whatever tidbits we get are the tidbits. Now just think about anybody that's making a six-figure plus salaries and millionaires and billionaires. They don't give a shit what kind of government we got. Government schmoverment, they're fine. You know, Hitler could come to power. Fascists love wealthier people. And if you're wealthy enough, you can even be a person of color if you have enough money. And you'll be all right. You know, Oprah knows that. The Rock knows that. Ice Cube knows that. Ice-T knows that. Oh my God, did anybody see even part of Joe Rogan and this? Who's that black comedian that went off on everybody? I don't even know. He's got kind of a greaser haircut, and he's always falling around, and you know, he's a pretty good comedian. I give him that. But these comedians got no business being political like that. That Joe Rogan show was a just absolute absurd. Well, all his shows are pretty terrible. Cat Williams, that's who I'm talking about. Stop it. He's no more. He's a self-righteous. He's just as he's just as fucked up as all the people that he just got done putting down after listening to that Joe Rogan show. He can kiss my ass, and I don't think he's funny anymore. Just from that. Now when I look at him, I'm just gonna think Joe Rogan show. It's all over. Boom. Change the channel. And that's what's gonna happen with me. Well, I don't care. I know for the most part that the black folks in this country, know which side their bread is buttered. And same with the Hispanic community. There's always a few, like the Cubans that think that they're white fascists who still have pictures of Batista hanging up in their apartments in Miami. Those are the people, that trained in the swamps for the Bay of Pigs. And when that didn't happen, they got pissed off and went off to Kennedy. I don't know if that's true, but that would not surprise me. That scenario would not surprise me one bit. And the mafia was pissed too at him, right? Because Fidel went down there and kicked their ass out of Havana as well. Because they were down there, running whores and gambling and laundering money. And, it was the abortion capital of the world at one time, Havana was. Everybody and his mother went down there to get an abortion. The wealthy people. Because if you have wealth, abortion laws don't affect you. You just sneak off in your private plane, go get an abortion if you want. All this crap is just to affect the common working and working poor of this country. It's just, there's no civility left, it doesn't seem like. Well, that's probably enough ranting from me. I had to kind of let off a little bit of steam. And I also like to let people know how I actually feel about the world. I don't want to have any misconceptions. I'm not farting rainbows over here in my neck of the woods. I think all that stinks. All right. Buenos dias, my friends. It is the daytime. I don't normally do this stuff in the daytime. All right.